Dan Hardy is one UFC fighter whose comeback has been anticipated for nearly a decade now. The former UFC welterweight has been out of the game since September 2012, and fans have been anticipating his return to the ring ever since, but it may take a bit longer than we thought. Also, he finally revealed his match with Sanchez has moved to the 12th of November. Let's find out more. First up, what Hardy has been up to ever since his last game. Hardy, famously known as the Outlaw by his devoted fans and enthusiasts, has been out of competition ever since he won over Amir Sadollah in September 2012 with a knockout. But things went downhill for the fighter soon after his win. He was diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, a heart condition which forced the crowd favorite to retire immediately. Ever since then, the British fighter has dabbled in a variety of pastimes, like becoming a UFC commentator and analyst, which he was far from bad at. Much to his delight, he was cleared to return to competition in 2018, but still could not get back to fighting because he wasn't released from the UFC. That happened an extra 3 years later. Nevertheless, he was in talks for several promotions soon after his release, and lo and behold, he finally bagged himself a boxing match as his comeback fight. His opponent was supposed to be Diego Sanchez, and the fight was on the undercard of Ricky Hatton and Marco Antonio Barrera on the 2nd of July, but then the event got postponed 2 weeks before it was to take place, and indefinitely. Now for the moment we've been waiting for. Hardy has revealed now that his fight is very much still on, and has been rescheduled for the 12th of November at the AO Arena in the UK. On the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, he discussed his comeback at length, explaining how the Hughie Fury title eliminator fight was added to the card, bringing the Sky Sports deal along with it, which is a huge deal. According to him, Hughie either got injured or fell sick, so the organizers decided to move the whole event along with him to November 12th. Reassuring his fans, the fighter reiterated that the fight was very much happening, just a bit later than anticipated. Though he slowed down for a couple of weeks after the fight was postponed and put on a few pounds, he's training harder than ever now. He elaborated how he was in the last week of his training camp when his fight got postponed, and felt pretty good about his prep. He still is, he admitted. He went back to his strength and conditioning training as soon as he could, and though 3 months is quite a bit of a delay, both him and Diego Sanchez are looking forward to it. Next up, why and how Hardy got released from the UFC in the first place. Hardy requested a dismissal from the UFC last year, and he confirmed it only after he posted a tweet that implied he'd been freed of his UFC contract. This raised speculations among fans eager to see the welterweight contender back in the ring. Soon after, the Outlaw confirmed with the MMA that he had indeed been let go by the UFC officially upon his request. He received his release letter soon after he'd placed his request, and this meant he was finally a free agent, and could sign with whatever promotion he wanted. Much to his fans' delight, he hinted at being in talks with Japan's RIZIN, and even suggested that he could be fighting Nick Diaz there. Diaz, however, was still under UFC contract at the time, but oh well. We were all just elated to see Hardy make a comeback to the ring, something which had been a long time coming, to be honest. Though he was part of the UFC as an analyst and commentator, there was no chance of him fighting in the UFC because of his Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. But despite his greatly felt absence in the ring, not to mention lengthy, 8 years is no short time, he has managed to remain one of the most popular fighters in the UFC roster, having a high profile both with his popping podcast and his position on the UFC commentary team with BT Sport. But what exactly is Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome? Way back in 2012, Hardy was deemed unable to face his opponent Matt Brown for an upcoming fight after doctors discovered that he had Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. This affliction is such that it causes an extra and abnormal pathway in the heart that gives the person fits of very fast heartbeat, aka tachycardia. And when he was getting a pre-fight echocardiogram done, the doctor stumbled upon this unexpected discovery. The illness, though not generally very dangerous, is deemed dangerous for Hardy's professional fighting career in particular, and this is why. Symptoms include signs of dizziness, fainting, or palpitations, and can become as bad as the heart completely losing control over its coordination, leading to heart failure and sudden death. Poor Dan Dan was looking forward to a regular mundane week full of the same old pre-fight medical examinations before his UFC on Fox 7 fight against Brown. Instead, he found out he had a condition that would change his professional life for the foreseeable future. Though all fighters need basic medical examinations like blood tests, physicals, and the like before getting the license to perform in a fight, this time the commission required an EKG, echocardiogram, as well, and the results gave him the shock of a lifetime. Initially, the UFC made an announcement stating Dan was merely injured. Later on, however, he revealed the true nature of his sickness. Ever since then, he fully embraced the syndrome, changing his Twitter username to Wolff-Heart, referencing the ailment, and tweeting about how he had the heart of a wolf with double the heartbeat it should have. Sadly enough, the California State Athletic Commission did not feel like Hardy should continue with his fight, and chose to not clear him. Now, for his manager's 2 cents on the matter. Soon after, Wad Al-Madeen, Hardy's manager, released a statement to Bleacher Report detailing what exactly went down during his EKG, and why the former title contender wouldn't be taking part in his scheduled UFC on Fox 7. He spoke about how earlier the same week, Dan got his medicals done as usual, and that the only difference was the EKG this time. Since the fight was in California, the CSAC requires for athletes to undergo an EKG as well, in addition to other standard medicals done in other states, like blood work, physicals, MRIs, etc. A day later, the former welterweight's results came back, showing an irregularity in his heartbeat, which coincidentally Wad Al-Madeen's wife also has. But what was even more confusing was that he had never shown symptoms of Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome at all, so you can imagine why it gave everyone a bitter shock, considering that the syndrome is either something you are born with or not at all. It has never developed in a person over time. Bearing the news like the champ that he is, he made several trips to the hospital after getting his results. He underwent several tests by a cardiologist at the hospital, which included ultrasounds, high-level stress tests to see how his heart responded to physical exertion, and the like. And lo and behold, Dan proved to have a heart so healthy even the doctors were surprised. Apparently, he had an amazing resting heart rate of 42 beats per minute, and he passed the stress test with flying colors, breaking the record that was set by a marathon runner over a year prior to him. But all these great results to no avail. The CASC still did not clear Hardy for his fight with Brown, so the UFC had to eventually replace him with Jordan Main. His manager Al-Madeen expressed regret at the commission's harsh decision based on a singular reading from an EKG over the several other tests he underwent, rather than looking at his performance and evidence from, well, his entire life. Not once has the man shown a single symptom of the syndrome throughout the entire decade-long career or the 30 years of his life, but the CASC paid no heed. Understandably, once he and his manager received the message that he wasn't cleared to fight in UFC on Fox 7, it came as a nasty surprise to both of them. Last but not least, some tidbits about Hardy's spectacular career before his diagnosis. He made his UFC debut 14 years ago in 2008, and oh, what a debut it was. The then rookie welterweight won the first 4 fights of his octagon career in a row. Then he earned a title shot against a former renowned UFC welterweight champion, George St. Pierre, 2 years later in 2010. His success took a tiny hit then. He lost that fight by unanimous decision, and then lost 3 more in a row. However, he made a spectacular rebound towards the end of his career, or should we say, beginning of his hiatus, winning over Duane Ludwig and Amir Sadollah both. Not only was he always in great fights with great performances, but he even managed to win a $65,000 bonus in his fight against Chris Little in 2011, given the honorable Fight of the Night title. That's a wrap for this video. How do you feel about his comeback to the ring? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.